Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our Mission Control. And no, it's not NASA. So we're kind of fucked, aren't we? So I'm sure you all have heard by now, especially if you are already a collector, or even if you're just getting into collecting, which in that case, I am very sorry for you. But the world is kind of in the shitter. I mean, it's kind of been this way for a very long time. Everything has just sort of been everywhere. And, you know, it seems like every time we look into the news, there's another outbreak or there's another apocalyptic event happening, and maybe just 2 more steps away from World War III, which is already stressful enough as it is. But I'm pretty sure the majority of us have relied on figure collecting and just collections in general to sort of keep any ounce of peace or hobby or just, you know, joy in our lives, right? So that was a really nice outlet, and that's sort of what I've been using figures for. I'm sure a lot of you share that same sentiment. But, you know, we never thought this day would come, but somehow the world is creeping into our own hobby. And I didn't really feel right making another video about just, the happenings of what's going on in the figure community when all of this is happening. And by all of this, I'm of course talking about the tariffs. Tariffs. Fancy little word. But, you know, tariff is an ugly word. We never really heard that word before. That wasn't really an issue that any of us had, you know, like, you know, with like free trade in the world and all this other stuff, like that wasn't really an issue. Like nobody was like really beefing with each other. And if you were in the EU and you were using DHL and all this other stuff, like things were already marked up for you for like VAT and, you know, different types of taxes you have to pay for your packages, but it wasn't like a direct trade war. And again, I'm sure as we've all already noticed, everybody in the globe is sort of being hurt by this trade war that's currently going on. So it didn't really feel right for me to just kind of sit here and be like, yeah, everything is fine and let's not talk about anything. Now, what I don't want to do is make this video and have anybody be scared to pre-order figures. That is not the goal of this video. And just a little disclaimer, everything in this video that I'm saying right now can change in the blink of an eye. Like literally, you know, one day over the next, everything that I say in this video could be worthless. But if you're kind of panicking and you're like, nope, I'm going to sell my whole collection, or oh no, I'm going to cancel all my pre-orders, I want you to stop, I want you to watch this video, and just walk with me for a bit. Because the situation is not as bleak as we think, but there are things that I am doing to protect my pre-orders and maybe even cancel a few of mine. You might have already seen some pretty crazy headlines about the already expensive foreigner or like non-Japan exclusive Nintendo Switch getting paused and delayed for release, or at least for pre-orders, just because of the tariffs and all this other fun stuff. And you might be freaking out right now. I was freaking out too, because with the $80 games, you can eat my... Anyways, so, like, that was already insane, because I thought the $450 price tag was tariff-proof. But clearly, we are not living in predictable times. And if Nintendo, the source of greed themselves, hiked the price that much, and still needs to recall the price and consider the price options for people in America, yeah, we're kind of fucked. But there are solutions, and I'm gonna go through them with you. We can go through this together. So why don't we talk about what can we do? What can we do to prepare ourselves? What can we do with things that we've already decided to buy? And why should we not quit figure collecting despite all of this? So why don't we get started? Let's go figure it out. So what is currently going on? I know I kind of brought it up as everybody knowing what exactly is going on, but there's a lot of misinformation being spread by even proxy shipping companies. Not because, you know, it's on purpose, but they just don't know the information either. So of course they're going to be quick to send out these emails and, you know, have very funny tariff-free sales and stuff like that. But what is exactly going on, and what should we anticipate in the coming months? So if you haven't already heard, there is a new, I guess, tariff war going on mainly between the US and China. Now, why does this matter? Why does this matter? Because all of our, you know, figure companies are in Japan, our holy grail, our holy land, right? Unfortunately, and I don't know if you already know this, and if you don't know this, maybe you're 12. I'm kidding. But, you know, if you don't realize this by now, most of the figures that we buy are actually made in China. You know, most of people recently talking about Chinese figure manufacturers aren't really addressing the fact that most figures are already made and, you know, produced in China and just sent to Japan so that they can distribute it. China produces the majority of goods for the entirety of the world. Let me not just pretend that it's figures. But, just because it's a Chinese figure manufacturer doesn't mean that all the other figures are produced in Japan. But, all in all, there is a huge tariff being placed on all Chinese goods, and the elimination of de minimis for individual purchases and individual shipments, for people in the US. So what does that mean? Because with tariffs of about 124%, you might be thinking, it's not going to apply to me, it's not going to matter. It is. So de minimis is this beautiful tax exemption. I will read this directly from the National Foreign Trade Council, and de minimis is a law, and it's a tax exemption that Congress passed on a bipartisan basis that allows shipments bound for American businesses and consumers valued at or under $800 per person per day to enter the US duty-free and without taxes. So you might have never thought of this before because we didn't have to. De minimis was just sort of the standard, and that's why whenever you picked up your packages or had your packages delivered to your door, there wasn't a handy little thing, somebody asking you to tip them 20%, or like an extra surcharge for the value of your item. So without de minimis, what does this mean? So for any Japanese figure manufacturer or, distributor like AmiAmi or Good Smile Company, and I'm specifically mentioning those two for a very specific reason, if they label the figure's origin as being Chinese, you will automatically have, as of right now, as of, I think, April 12th, 2025, you will have a 124% tariff on that product. You, as an individual consumer, are not protected. So imagine if your Nendoroid is $40, right? You can expect to spend at least $100 on this $40 Nendoroid, including shipping, which is absolutely insane. And it's very scary. It's very scary to be buying from companies that don't list the origin of their product as Japan. And you might be wondering, if they're shipping from Japan, if the item is in Japan, why do they list it as China? So some, companies are very pedantic in terms of their, record keeping or bookkeeping, if you will. So, for example, Good Smile Company lists the origin as where the item was manufactured, not where it's being shipped from. So, in that case, all of the people that have pre-orders with Good Smile Global, right? And if you might have noticed on the Good Smile US website, Nendoroids are $84 now, or even more, I'm pretty sure, and they have like this excuse of a sale going on. All of those items are going to be tariffed as of right now, or I think, I'm pretty sure with China, it's like right now. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. So in response to that, me personally, I have actually gone ahead and I have canceled. Good Smile Company doesn't know that I've canceled my orders, but I have about 4 pre-orders with them. They're all Nendoroids, but I am not spending $400 on $200 worth of Nendoroids. So I tried emailing them. I'm going to put it up here if I can, but I tried being very polite and being like, hey, the tariff situation, this was actually before the 124% tax hike. And I just said, hey, I can't cancel this. I'm a repeated customer. And they hit me with this. So Good Smile Company doesn't know that I'm canceling it. But what I'm basically doing is, before the item is being shipped out, I'm going to block my credit cards. If you're using PayPal, I would suggest blocking all the credit cards or payment information that you have on there, and basically not being able to let the order go through. I think that Good Smile Company is being really unreasonable in the sense that they can't just hold our packages, or they refuse to allow cancellations with reasonable, justification. But that is why I'm taking the forceful route, and I personally will not be placing any orders with Good Smile US or even Good Smile Global for the foreseeable future until, somebody stops getting on their high horse. But just overall, it just does not seem worth it to buy with this specific company. Now, I'm not too familiar with AmiAmi. I'm pretty sure it depends on which shipping option that you use. I heard that AmiAmi is actually pausing the surface mail option, or like boat. I recognize it as boat, but I don't think they're doing that anymore because that goes from containers in China. You would realize how much we are relying on China, actually, but that is an unfortunate thing, and I don't know what AmiAmi labels their items as, depending on which figure you get. It could be listed as originating in China, but so you might get taxed. I'm just warning you. Things might go up in price a lot in the next couple of weeks. So what am I doing? What am I doing to combat all of this? What am I doing to get past all of this? Well, here is the light at the end of the tunnel, and something that a lot of fear-mongering people don't want you to know. There are tons of people online, and again, this is just fear. It spreads like a plague. It's rumors. But, with proxy shipping companies, sending out stuff like this, and again, spreading misinformation, even if it's not on purpose, leads people to panic. I'm not blaming anybody for panicking, but Japan currently is not at the height of, the de minimis exemption, getting rid of it. So what I mean by that is that Japan is not really a victim as of right now. We're hearing a bunch of talk about like 20% and all this stuff, but you might have heard the 90-day pause on those tariffs. And even with the 90-day pause, de minimis still counts for Japanese products. So I wouldn't worry yet. In the future, I would highly suggest, you don't hear it from me, if the government is looking at this, look away. But what I will be doing from now on, instead of pre-ordering products, from AmiAmi or Good Smile Company, actually I'm banned on AmiAmi, I don't even know why I'm saying it. You guys are probably not banned on there, whatever. Instead of pre-ordering things from these places, I'm just gonna wait till they release in Japan, and I'm gonna go to my favorite little proxy from Japan, and then I'm just gonna buy it from some random person, like pre-owned, in Japan. Now, if you're a stickler for things being pre-owned and all this other fun stuff, then you might be shit out of luck, unless you want to pay, a lot more for your products. But me personally, I don't mind it being pre-owned, and most of the time they even sell the figure sealed. So that's sort of my guarantee to keep the de minimis thing, even if an item originally originated in China, because it was shipped from Japan and it goes to a proxy in Japan. So we should be good. We should be good. At least I think so. I'll let you guys know in the future. But that's sort of what I'm doing in the future. I will not be placing any new pre-orders unless it's with Tokyo Otaku Mode, because my god, like I said in my video, like I said in my pre-order video, Tokyo Otaku Mode is the GOAT. Forget about the points, forget about the premium membership, forget about everything else, right? Tokyo Otaku Mode lists the origin of the country as Japan. Thank God. Because, even though I've paid for all of my upcoming big pre-orders, on that website, I was very worried that I would have to pay the huge tax hike. But Tokyo Otaku Mode is the best, and they actually list the origin as to where they're shipping it from, aka Japan. So if you have any pre-orders placed at Tokyo Otaku Mode, you've already paid for them, you're worried about canceling, and you're like, I don't know if I want to, I don't want to pay even 20%, which I wouldn't want to either. You are in luck, because for now, again, I need to repeat that. For now, things seem to be fine with Tokyo Otaku Mode. Now, what can happen in the future? What can happen in the future? I do not know. Nobody can predict anything, and we are living in unprecedented times. But I think that the sort of ways that I'm gonna slip by for the next couple of months and just halt my pre-ordering for a little while, especially from Good Smile, which I literally, I literally put them on a pedestal in a previous video. You see how quickly things can change. But I think if you can slither your way through, slow down your pre-orders, maybe, unless you can afford the tariffs, then good on you. But for the average person, I think ordering for proxies and sticking to Tokyo Otaku Mode, if you can pay for things upfront, is the way to go for the foreseeable future. And if you are already have pre-orders on Good Smile Company or AmiAmi. I don't know about AmiAmi exactly, but just to be cautious, you can go ahead and save your pre-order till you want to cancel it. And if you're on Good Smile Company, I would just suggest blocking your credit card, because from what I've heard and from other people, talking about it just in general, they are not accepting any cancellations. They clearly saw this news and they just put all the fences up in front. So I don't know. Even if your mom died and you had to pay for the funeral expenses, I'm pretty sure Good Smile Company just would not give a shit. So I would highly suggest just blocking that credit card. They can't do anything. It's not like it's your rent. So if you block it, you should be fine. It kind of sucks because maybe you'll get banned, but there's always new email addresses. I'm just saying. But things are kind of crazy right now. But don't quit figure collecting. Please don't quit figure collecting just because of some idiot's decision. This will pass over. Everything will pass over. And yeah. So Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys canceling all your pre-orders despite me telling you not to? Alright, how many pre-orders do you have with Good Smile Company? Do you think that things will get better or worse in the future? Let me know. And yeah, I don't really know how to make an outro. So I'm gonna give it to voiceover Artemis. Anyways, bye! Woo. Wow, welcome back to the end of another video. You have yet again made it to the end. Good luck on your attention spans. I hope this video wasn't really too dire, or didn't really seem, you know, too doomer-like. Not trying to scare anybody, but I hope this video was informational. Do with it as you will. Maybe tomorrow it will be completely useless, but I hope it helped. I don't really know what else to say. Hope you guys are doing good. And yeah, we're gonna reselect opener for the giveaway. So the Discord link is below. Anyways, bye! And I will read this directly from the World Trade Organization. Or wait, actually, I'll read this directly from the... Oh, sorry. I'll read this directly from the National Federal Trade Council. Oh, goddammit. I cannot read English. Okay, I forgot to mention something. The Nintendo Switch, you know, the